in science.
Right,
and then
you must reveal that you're a scientist yourself. I mean, your degrees and your university degrees make you an engineer first off.
I am.
Right, so you're saying that there could be more of you if it were taught and it weren't sort of genetically inbred. Alla grew up with great powers of observation. You can teach these things.
You see, that's right. Mask is not about arts, and it's not about painting at all. At all. Our objective, if I look at my children and I asked myself in the beginning of this program 7 years ago, when my children painted, I asked myself, do I want them to be able to paint? And I immediately answered to myself, not at all.
My children is in the children whom you work with.
Yes, I call them my children now.
Exactly,
yes.
Most teachers do.
Yes.
Yes.
And to be honest, I don't care if they can paint or not. What I do care passionately about their creativity.
Right.
About their skill of
right.
creative thinking and innovation.
I would like to take the conversation into a slightly different direction. I'm talking about this idea of the individual trying to bring about change on a grand scale. Who could help you do this apart from Mask? And are they helping you to do it? On the ground.
On the ground.
So that when you, quote unquote, disappear, you'd have set up an institution. We're always talking about institutions. What are the institutions that should be created to nurture creativity and the arts?
You know, this is our, I think, two main partners are schools themselves, because we work in schools, and maybe policymakers and donors. So those two areas. And I found incredible degree of interest and openness from the roots schools and children and teachers. They're always open to our programs, and they want it. We're inundated by schools who invite us to come and set the program in their schools. Inundated. So,
okay, I'm going to ask, you need paint, you need a paintbrush, you need some kind of medium, a canvas upon which to operate, and this translates into the M word, money. Where is every school in Kenya? Every kid is going to have a laptop, the government says. Surely we should go a step back one, forget the laptop, and give them paints and brushes. Is that your solution?
Do you know, I wouldn't advocate to give up something for the other. There must be always in life balance.
Or, yeah, right, okay.
But I do agree that I do believe that creativity is so important. And yes, you can give a wonderful, innovative tool to a child. But if child's creativity is not fostered, it will disappear. I mean, there's a wonderful research done, which actually is shocking. In 1997, they took a group of 20 young people at age of 5, and they asked them to come up with 20 or more solutions for the usage of paperclip.
I understand.
And 98% of these children, 5 years old, came up with 20 or more solutions. The same group, same type of task, 5 years later, so the children are 10. The percentage of those who came up with 20 or more solutions, 32%. Right? So it's third down. 5 years later, children are now 15. Do you know what the percentage of those children came up with 20 or more solutions for usage of some
Well, I'm waiting for you to say an even lesser percentage.
10%.
10%.
And then, at the end of the experiment,
right,
these young people now 25. Do you know what percentage of them
right,
came up with 20 or more solutions? Only 2%.
Right. But then,
and it's the condition that
you could take as a conclusion from that is that when we're very little, we're very creative, and as we grow older, you have it knocked out of us.
Absolutely.
But, are you going to I'm still saying your particular project, let's go back to Mask, because what you're doing after they have the exhibition and the creativity has been nurtured, we're going to take this exhibition to London, New York, and one could say that there's a certain element of condescension in there, in the sense that any kid anywhere from China, Mongolia, they're all worthy of exhibitions in New York. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Right. So your riposte is going to say it's just because you've chosen this part of the world that you've fallen in love with this part of the world, and that's your answer, to which I've got no comeback. Because I'm saying spread it around everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Kids in Russia might benefit as greatly as a kid in Turkana or Pokot.
Do you know what surprised me? I started this project because I understood as art education is limited in schools, and that's why I decided I have to do something. Yes, I'm just a single person, but I still can do some contribution.
Right. I wouldn't argue with that.
No, but I want to answer that question. And then I realized when I started to develop it and talk to my friends in London, they all said, "Why, Alla, don't you do this project in London?" And then I just came from Washington, D.C., and people told me there, "Alla, why wouldn't you do this project in the city schools in D.C.?" So of course there's a need across. There's a big vision. I think there's a lot of wonderful, intelligent people like Ken Robinson, Edward de Bono, who've been advocating creativity as a key to development.
Right.
For years.
And that point has been made. And I would like to take you on this idea of the role of the corporate world, the big money spenders. Again, have you appealed to them? We've dealt with government. And what's the response from them?
Yeah.
Surely they should appreciate that, particularly because their appeal is to the young. It's the young who are going to buy the fancy smartphones. It's the young who are going to drink. So why aren't they hitting you with billions of dollars? Or millions, let's reduce it.
I think the answer is this. The situation is this. When I started this project, I think I'm a very creative person. This is my life. And when I ask myself, what is creativity? I honestly couldn't answer that. I had to read books and books and books to really pin down what creativity is. And many people, and that's across the corporate world, people don't understand what creativity is. They think it's ability to play a musical instrument, to paint a picture, to dance. And they say, well, how am I a CEO of big corporation? Why am I responsible for this young person to be able to dance? Where is the connection of my profit and child's ability to dance? And indeed, there's no connection, because I think there's a lack of understanding creativity. Corporates don't see immediately that creativity actually is what makes money for them. It's the innovation, it's creativity. Creativity is, in a sense, is ability to generate new ideas. And as we know, progressive business, a successful business, is the business who innovate, and the business who is one step ahead of their competitors. And how do they get a step ahead of their competitors? By being innovative, by coming up with new products, new ideas, new services, new.
Right, so you're saying you want to exponentially increase the number of people who are capable of being innovative. Absolutely. So the last question to you might be, where do we go from here?
It's a good question, John. From here, we need to start a debate, or in media, on your program, more and more, about creativity and its potential benefits to economic development. Yes, it's incredibly important to child's development, but if we look at the bigger picture, economic development, we need to start this debate. We need to involve more corporations. I'd love to work with the government on some pilot scheme where we can enroll my program, say, in 100 or 200 schools, and then independently assess the results and achievements. That's where we think we need to go next.
Alla Tkachuk, founding director of the Mobile Art School in Kenya, Mask. We wish you a very successful exhibition on June the 11th and a very successful project going forward, as we say nowadays. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.